I'm Ken Gushi, and this is a 2023 Toyota GR Corolla, and we're going to show you how to drive it on the track and on the dirt the Gazoo way. Okay, let's start with braking. On tarmac, what you want is static or gripping friction. And that translates into three things. Threshold braking, braking as hard as possible without locking up the wheels, and maintaining directional control. Let's see what that looks like all together in real time. I'm going to accelerate down the straightaway. As we approach the corner, I'm going to wait till the last minute to brake as hard as I can and finish off 90% of my braking in a straight line. Maintain directional control. Start to turn in as I lift off the brakes, transition to the throttle, and throttle out. Alright, now on dirt, things get a little different for braking because the circle for static friction gets much smaller. So now we implement what we call dynamic friction. The first step is to get on the brakes to start to induce a weight transfer. Next, you want to pitch the car sideways into the corner and use the tire sidewalls to reduce speed. Now at that point, you can decide whether to get on the brakes or the throttle to steer the car through the corner. Now let's see what that looks like side by side compared to tarmac. Man, this thing is fun. Up next is cornering, and the first step is to locate your turn-in point, which will minimize the steering radius and maximize your cornering speed. Then you're going to steer smoothly into the apex. Once you get to the apex, you're going to get back on the throttle smoothly and exit the corner, maintaining grip and speed. Alright, so all together, you locate your turning point, turn in smoothly to locate the apex, and then increase speed as you exit the corner, minimizing the turning radius as much as possible. Here's where things get very different than on tarmac. First, you want to transfer the weight to the front so you can easily affect the yaw of the vehicle. And we can do this in two ways. You can either get on the brakes like I mentioned before, or simply lift the throttle, which will lighten the back end. Next, you need to counter steer so you don't oversteer too much. And then finally, get on the throttle and let that GR4 all-wheel drive system claw you back towards the apex of the turn. Or you can simply get on the brakes if you're going too wide. Now let's put it together. Brake and pitch, counter steer, right back on the gas to pull you through the corner. Now if you want to get fancy, in tighter turns or when linking two turns together, we do something called a Scandinavian flick or a pendulum turn. Let's see what that looks like side by side with cornering on tarmac. Now some of this can be applied to both tarmac and dirt, but can change for different situations on the dirt. We'll get to that in a little bit, but first let's demonstrate how heel toeing works, which is basically using your right foot to control the brake pedal and the throttle, and your left foot to depress the clutch. You always want to rev match to the gear you're about to go into, otherwise you risk the car bogging and lurching, which is both bad for the vehicle and your lap times. Thankfully, this GR Corolla does this automatically with its 6-speed IMT system. But we'll demonstrate how you would do this with a normal manual transmission. So as I approach the corner, I'm going to smoothly apply the brakes with my right foot. At the same time, I'm going to depress the clutch while going from the higher gear to the lower gear, simultaneously rolling over my right foot to the throttle. I'm gonna slowly and smoothly release the clutch pedal, ease off the brakes, start my turn in as I smoothly ease into the throttle, power out of the corner. Now let's put that into practice. All right, as we approach this corner, we're gonna brake, heel toe downshift, slowly turn in, then accelerate through the corner. Now, the heel and toe technique still applies when driving on dirt, but it can change depending on the situation. And if you're really good at matching RPMs, you can actually get away with clutchless downshifting, which is really effective when left foot braking. Left foot braking allows you to shave off a fraction of a second when switching between the brake and the throttle, which is also very effective for front-wheel drive vehicles when approaching a turn. If you hit the brakes with your left foot, but overpower your brakes with your right foot on the throttle, it'll lock up the rear wheels, but keep the front wheel spinning, which allows you to pitch the car sideways easier, carrying a lot of speed through the corner. Well, let's see what this looks like in real time on this all-wheel drive beast. Okay, as we approach the corner, left foot brake, full throttle to power through the corner, tapping the brakes to close the line if needed. As for throttle, you're almost always fully on or fully off. This GR Corolla is an absolute beast with its turbocharged 1.6 liter 3-cylinder engine, 300 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque, and all-wheel drive. It's fantastic to drive both on and off the track. And now that you have a few tips and tricks up your sleeve, let's go have some fun.